Thanks for tuning back in to American Garage TV. I'm your host, Jim. We're here at Jim's Speed Shop. And today, we're going to talk about flush mount glass. Specifically, not so much Pilkington, but Fesler USA. Now, they're quick to say that this goes directly into a car, and not without some fabrication. Come on, I'll show you. Drew, why don't you come around here and help me? So, up here. Good, you kept the things on it. Okay. Bring this up. It's got the suction cups on it, just for safety. Grab underneath there. So this is the Fesler glass. It's even got their logo on it. It's got the black back here. This is to hide the glue, okay? The one behind you is the rear. You also notice this, now it's a safety glass, and that's where you can barely see the film coming out. And you just be careful here because this will tend to be a little rough. And then these corners here and this are supposed to take the profile of the vehicle. Now, butting this up against an original, this is 1/2 inch taller than the original, okay? And from side to side, width-wise, it's only 3/8. So if you divide that, what is that, 3/16? Some people on YouTube, great number of channels, and that's what we're gonna discuss today, they basically bring the body up to a regular glass, which is like, I don't know, 250, 300 bucks. This sucker here can go as high as $1,200, $1,300. We have to fight to get a shop discount. And if somebody out there is listening, yes, I am special because I own a business and I would have come back and bought more and more from you. Just look around. Let's just discuss what this is. This is a 68 Chevy 2 Nova. Now, it's got the body style of 69 and onward, I think up to 78, 79, somewhere around there, maybe even in the early 80s. This is a 1 year, one of a kind as far as the dash. And getting back to this car, we've replaced floorboards. We have a custom chassis jig, which we put that on the jig, so that way the car stays well within the integrity from the factory. Now also keep in mind, back in 68, 50s, 40s, 30s, even the 60s, the late 60s, a lot of this stuff is mass produced, kind of like Mustangs. Nothing's perfect. Now, if you look here, this is called the pinch weld, okay? You see these tabs? These are for the clips that clip on. These need to be removed when you're installing a flush mount. But this right here, you can see there's a good 3/4 of an inch here. This is the pinch weld. We did some smoothing out over here because from the factory this is left rough. So whereas in the case with this 68 Chevy 2 Nova and others alike, Camaros, Chevelles, and I believe the El Caminos, this doesn't use a seal. What this uses is butyl, which is this sticky licorice stuff. And this here is what we call butyl. There's an end in here somewhere. So what you do is you lay this butyl down. This is roughly about 3/8 of an inch thick. And you lay it about 3/8 by 3/8. It's symmetrical. And you lay that around the whole perimeter. And then you come back with a heater or like a heat gun or set it outside in the sun. And what you want to do is allow that to just kind of cook in the sun a bit. Because once that happens, this becomes extremely sticky. Then, with the assistance of our suction cups, with 2 people, 1 on each side, set the glass in place. Once that's down, you press down firmly. And after heating the butyl, you'll get a consistent and even bond until you crush that into position. Crush meaning seated, okay? Now, the thing is, after that, that glass is recessed within here. Unlike the Fesler glass, that they're telling you to use 3/4 inch of your urethane. And speaking of which, because this particular build is going to have well over 500, maybe 550 potential horsepower and about 590-ish torque, we're not going to be using butyl. We're going to be gluing in with this black urethane, again by 3M. Now, of course, this was not available back in 1968, but it's available now, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And once that is in place, and again, you're going to lay about a 1/2 inch bead all the way around the perimeter, and you're going to smash down to about half of that to no less than about 1/4 inch. And then, as that's recessed and centered, then we're going to go ahead, and you might want to put in your tabs right now before the glass goes in. And then you use what's known as a tab repair kit for some of you that are losing or missing the tabs, and that's fine. You just need to make sure that the head of the screw is centered where it needs to be and the depth. And once that's done, then you go ahead and drill your screw in. And it basically has the same head as this. And then you can leave that a little loose, have some like red Loctite, put the clip in, and basically snug that down. Don't torque it. Once that's in place, lay your bead down. Make sure you don't even need to take this off because your bead is going to be in here. Once that's done and the glass is in place, then you can come back, fold back later, and pop in your trim, and your windshield's installed. The seal actually zigzags around, grabs this, comes around, butts up against here, and then it's got a groove 1/4 inch for the factory style glass. So the problem is when you put in a flush mount glass, you're about to see you get tight or thicker. And the whole idea is to keep it flush and aesthetically keep it clean. We want an 1/8 inch reveal all the way around. So as far as Mr. Fesler is concerned, this car is factory. They're real quick to argue with you and in this demeanor attitude that, hey, you know, I got 190,000 followers. I mean, who gives a shit? I mean, that doesn't mean anything. And I've never, you're the only one. We've all heard that before. You're the only one. But again, let's see, red line stand, salvage to savage, the Kirk of all trades, comma, weld, something, something, are just a few. There's also Miranda built. These are all people, and especially Miranda, who've had years of, craftsmanship. These people they know what they're doing. And they're all going to show you that this pinch weld, like when you remove drip rails, has to get cut out, re-welded, and then made for the glass, as far as the depth. Now, as far as the perimeter, you're going to see this gets cut all the way around where need. It either gets stretched or pulled out. When you make a cut, that's called the saw kerf. And that thickness of the blade, which is typically at least 1/16 of an inch if you're using a carbide saw, and you have 1/16 of an inch to pull out. And then you can easily go in there with that same carbide, take out more metal where need be, and you leave yourself just maybe barely 1/16 of an inch. We call it the gully. That's so the weld can fit in there. You don't want to go topical, grind that away, or scallop, and you end up with thin metal, and then you end up, after paint, it starts to crack. So, Drew, let's put this up in place. Now, I'm going to hold this up here, and now, Drew, take your finger. We're pretty much flush. Now, if you can, I want you to come in with the camera underneath here. Okay, and I want to make sure until I'm dead zero. There you go. You see that big space underneath there? All around, roughly close to 3/4 of an inch. You see that?
Yep.
All right, this car is designed, all of them. Everybody he caters and sells to, or anybody for that matter, old 50s, 60s cars, trucks, whatever. Bottom line is, without doing the metalwork, and up here, by the way, before I get ahead of myself, I'm pulling mine in. But when I come here, do you see that 1/8 inch opening? and I'm tight here, actually that looks pretty cool because the glue is going to be underneath. And you come down here. Now you see this? That actually bends out and bows a bit. And then over here, it's touching. But don't forget, that's just this one side. Wait till you adjust and center it to the vehicle. It's a different story. So, bottom line is, this is going to need to get modified and bring the glass, okay, just set and hold it, and bring the body to the glass. And the other thing they tell you to do is you just put gob 3/4 inch glue. Well, you know what? I'm an ex-general contractor. I was a mason finisher. I used to form set. You're taking a product, and unless you're gonna, you know, make a concrete form or something for the glue to keep in place, the glue is only meant, let's say it on the back of the glue. We've got one that's 3M, I think, right? It's a black urethane, it's the window glue, and that is only meant to pull out a bead, no more than maybe 1/4, right in the center. So when this glass goes down and gets oozed, you need to have stops in here to stop the glass so it puts it in place. It's kind of like veneering where you've got at least an X and a Y, a block, and that way when you butt up against those blocks, that lines you up, because once that's installed, you're installed. You're not going to peel that apart. You might be able to maneuver this a bit, but as it's drying and curing, you want to make sure this glass, hold that, just keep it to the, you want to make sure this glass is where you want it to be, bar none. So also, when you pour it that thick, I don't even know if that stuff's ever going to dry properly, and gravity's going to take its toll. What's going to stop that glue from wanting to fall and ooze out? That's just ludicrous. They never show you a picture on the inside. Take a look on the inside. See these pillars here? The windshield pillars? There is a, much like the dash, it's a finished cover. And it's called the inside windshield pillar. It's made out of plastic, nylon. The thing is that is manufactured equally for the original glass. So if the glass comes up another 3/4 inch all the way around, and don't forget, you've got the cowl here, okay? There was a trim that went on here. So yes, it can be done. That is not my argument. The argument is, when you tell somebody like these people, you already have your car painted and it's done. Even on Salvage to Savage, that car was painted up. I think it was a 70 Chevelle. They had to grind and prep. That's the other thing. You don't want to glue on paint. So you want it on directly on metal. They had to refabricate all that stuff. And I believe the announcer had mentioned that was their first approach. Now, I've restored cars for years. I'm in my early 60s, been around the block. I grew up as a mechanic's son. I was 8 years old. So I go back. I've had this restoration shop here for many years. I had a 69 recently. It was a convertible Mustang, and that was a glue-in. So I've been there, done that. No way in hell was anything ever 3/4 inch thick. That's just it. So that's our discussion today. I hope this helps some of you viewers out there that are tuning in. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Again, I'm Jim Speed Shop. You're watching American Garage TV, and we just thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.